What's cracking, mi gente? This your boy D once again, ready to come by to show some love and a little bit of knowledge. Today, I'm gonna continue talking about the 20th Street Click, but I'm gonna take it back. I'm gonna take it back to an article that was written by the SF Gate or SF Weekly back in 2008 when the Devil Horns operation took place, and this gonna be the beginning or me breaking down the Operation Devil Horns, how did it start, why did it start, who were the main characters, and all of that stuff. And we're gonna dig deep into these characters, okay? You guys are always asking me, tell us more about 20, tell us more about the wars that you guys went through. So here it is, the beginning of these stories and the beginning. And then also with these videos, I'm also gonna be going down there and doing the blog, showing you guys the hood. So when I point out a neighborhood or building, remember it. So when I tell you, oh, this was when it happened, this, so you guys can picture it in your head. But there's a lot of comments either in live and in the comments in the videos that have left me saying, when are you gonna discuss that report? When are you gonna talk about it? How true it was? So here I am today to discuss it. And right after this one, I'm gonna do the Edwin Ramos case. And following by that, I'm gonna do the Pee Wee's case, and then I'm gonna do some of the new indictments and some of the old indictments, and who were the characters, what happened, where they are now, and so forth and so forth. So with that being said, I hope you guys like this type of videos. I hope you guys enjoy them. Don't forget to hit that like button, or if you don't like it, just hit the thumbs down. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't to. Go subscribe to my other channel because I'm gonna be dropping more videos over there as well. And I'm gonna be dropping some MS videos over there and some MS videos out there. Some cases from other states that I will be looking into. Some of the homeboys that I knew and where they are now in the case factor, and if I agree with what transpired or not. I'm gonna be giving my opinion basically on my experience and what I know of MS. And I hope you guys enjoy this too. And hopefully by next week we're gonna be going live sooner and better. And just wait for me because I'm working on a good videos. With that being said, don't forget to share this video with your loved one, with your hating, with your ex, with the wizzy, with the not wizzy. Do what you can, man. But overall, don't forget to hit that comment. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you enjoy. If you don't enjoy, that's okay, man. Do what you do. But with that said, let's get into it. So the article was named, it was written, if I'm not mistaken, by the SF Weekly or SF Gate, one of those two. But the article name was MS Rat Running Wild While Turning Evidence Against Their Own Hood. While turning evidence against their members of their own hood. I think that was the last quote I remember, but I know it was MS Rat running wild while turning evidence. Now, and the most disrespectful part that he did was he did a human body, tied it up with all MS, but he had put a rat, literally a rat head, and on a rat ear it has said FBI owned, and over here it has federal confidential informant, and over here it said owned by the government. So the way that person who wrote the article, which was disrespectful as hell, which was a mockery of what MS stood for, which was a real violation of indecency. But I get where he was coming from. I understood. At that moment I didn't, but now down the road I understood what he was meaning. He's a journalist. He was trying to make it catchy, and he thought that was funny. He thought that was catchy. But he wasn't wrong on how he titled the article. He was not wrong at all. Not by one bit. That's the problem. So I can't knock him for him having to draw that attention and doing it that way. Did I feel the respect at that moment? Yeah, I cursed his ass out when I read the article. I think I sent him a letter cursing him out. I don't think he ever got it, but I did. The reason why was because it was disrespectful to the people that were still in that movement, even though the persons he was talking about, he was telling the truth. Of course, he made some things up. There was a lot of made up things there that needed to be addressed, but there was most of them were true. So like I say, it was true. The name of the title that now it was A Rat's Life, MS13 and Snitches Run Wild while turning and stay evidence. It has this little character, if you guys can see it. It had that little tattoo. Right? It had that little tattoo. I will post it in the on the channel. And it also had this rat face in there as well. And I will tell you who that person is. So when this article came up, like I say, it was disrespectful. It was derogatory. It was meant to hold a disrespectful manner, which it got his point. But he wasn't wrong whatsoever on what he said. He was not wrong on everything that he had done. Basically, it was the life the he was living. And whether they trying to say that they try not to say his name, we know who that person was. We know who he was. That was there was a couple people that had turned red at that point, but his description of him that he was a construction worker from El Salvador, Nayera Messi claim, and then he's la la la, and he said that he didn't know but his name, so that only led me to two conclusions at that time for that age. That was either Payaso from 20th Street because he was around that age and he was light skinny, and we knew of Jamie Martinez, aka the biggest rat that MS has seen, but also went by the moniker of Mickey. Then we knew his nephew, Abraham Martinez, aka Goofy, the second rat. And we knew of Bad Boy, the third biggest rat in that case. And we also knew of Joker and we knew of Capone, right? So we knew of this. When he said he was light skinned, Capone was light skinned, but he wasn't a construction worker at that time. Payaso was a construction worker at that time. But that is the past. Now, here's where it goes. So, the reason why he named it like that was because when Mickey turned rat, Mickey had got caught with a gun and some dope. So the feds flipped him. They told him, if you get us basically conclusive evidence or you wear wires that put MS members in the prosecution state, then we will give you whatever they had agreed to give him. But they released him. So Mickey was wearing wires to meetings. Mickey was wearing wires to phone calls. Mickey was doing a lot of stuff for the feds. And the reason why the feds scored so high and they were able to take down and create that big federal indictment was because two things that play a big factor. One, they have Bad Boy from Honduras. He was a Honduran native that was coming from Honduras, fleeing the homeboys because he was put on a green light base over there. But he also, his background of him that led him to come in, connect with the homeboy was a solidified background that he had done. He was not just any member. So in Honduras, this guy was one of the ranking leaders of MS13 over there. And he was also the person that gave the order for that bus full of people to get killed in Honduras. So when the trial came up, and I will present paperwork to you guys, in Honduras, he had killed at least 11 to 13 people himself. There was cases where dope dealer, he put him on his knees, he capped him from the back. There was one he gave the order of the bus full of people to get burned and cremated because they weren't paying taxes. The driver wasn't paying taxes to a mess. But the reason why he had flipped against the homeboys over there was because the homeboys caught him. He was the treasureman as well. So they had caught him stealing money. And his hand didn't work. This hand didn't work. So they had hit him a couple times with a machete and had nicked a couple of his nerves. So he had to lift his hand like this in order for him to move it. And plus, they had killed his sister and his brother-in-law, and they had almost tried to kill his mom and dad behind him stealing from the hood. So he left the country. But they were, in the way he left, not a lot of we weren't communicating with a lot of Honduran homeboys and cliques at that time. So when he got here, he was able to establish that profile. Plus, once he took off his shirt, you can see he had a lot of gang tattoos that were meaningful, that had to be earned, and he had a lot of stuff that they had a deeper meaning to the neighborhood. And when we call, basically he gave us the number of his handlers when we called to verify his story, and that's how he was able to log into the hood, where he recorded meetings, he recorded funk with the homeboys, he was able to get in good with the leaders of 20th Street, and that was the reason why. But that was not, he was just one. The second was Mickey. Mickey was from 20th Street. Mickey happened to be an older member of the neighborhood because of who his brother, Big Snoopy, was a co-founder of 20th Street. Not founder, but he was one of the elders, homeboys that we had in 20th Street. He had a reputation. So because of that, Mickey was able to slide through, because his brother, then his nephew Goofy, slide through. So once Mickey started doing that, the reason why they put it as Snitches was running wild was because this cat was acting like they had gave this fool a license to run and fucking mug. I mean, even while he was working for the FBI, he was out there doing work. He was out there putting in work, doing robberies, shooting people, stabbing people, running people over. He was doing the most. He didn't give a shit. And there was nothing that we could do or the police could do, because basically they let him out, and in order his excuse to them later on when the paperwork came out, which I had it, and I think I still have some of it, I will look for him, was that I had it to prove them that I was not a rat, because there was already suspicion that there was a rat in the clique. Of course they were suspicious of a rat in the clique, because certain things were taking place that only certain people knew. There was one incident that left us shook when we went and picked up a gun to somebody's house. We transferred that gun, and we were supposed to go and stash it up in the park, right? I don't know where there was in a backpack. I don't know where the person that was supposed to be stashing it, at the end, we pull him back and we send somebody else and we switch the bag, which we didn't inform the other people that we had suspicions of being the rat. It was Ford, we had suspicions of it. So we were trying to eliminate to see which one was what. Well, we get those people that information. Next thing you know, police officers surround the park looking for the gun, and then the homeboy that was supposed to be carrying the gun in the backpack gets pulled over. They search his backpack looking for weapons, and we looking at the distance like, okay. Now we narrow it down to 4 people, but either the feds caught wind of what we were doing, or he told the feds or something, so they pulled him. He gets arrested. He gets busted later on for, I believe, was driving without a license or something like that. So they pulled him. But when they went and did his trial, they pulled so much dirt on this man. This dude had did a couple drive-by shootings, a couple shootings, stabbings, robberies while he was working for the FBI. They still try to use him as a witness to put down a couple homeboys. They still try to use him to get a lot psycho, to get Peloncito, to get a couple individuals on it. But because he had compromised himself, the government chose not to use him. And he went and testified against them in other matters. But in the matters where they really wanted him, they couldn't use him because of the compromisation. So the title MS Snitches Running Wild kind of did fit him, because it was him that was doing. And yes, you had Capone that turned a snitch when they did the bank robbery with Negro and Joker. So they did a bank robbery with these 2 guys, and it went sideways. Joker flipped, told on them. They snatched up both of them, and then while he was in the cell, they told Capone, hey, you're looking at how much this for this and this and that. And they had an attempted murder also on him. So he flipped. He became the other rat. Negro suffered the consequence. But they didn't get released to get running around wild. See, Goofy knew of his uncle's doing. So what Goofy did, he pulled back from 20th Street. He wasn't going to 20th Street as often. He wasn't doing this and that. It was rare that we see him because he was afraid that we would take a vengeance, or we will take the anger that we have for his uncle out on him. When he caught his case, when the indictment came down, when he caught his case, the only option, the only thing he saw was to flip. So he flipped. He was supposed to be used in a couple cases, but he didn't get used because his story wasn't corroborated with each other. So there was lying. So you guys gotta understand what this whole federal RICO indictment was. A lot of the people that took stand, a lot of the people that flipped, they didn't flip because they knew what was transpiring. No, they flipped because they wanted to save their asses, and they were lying their asses off most of the time just to try to catch a deal. Here you have the biggest rat, the biggest killers from Honduras trying to testify. And he was his start witness. This was the Fed's start witness. So they were trying to use Goofy on, and the reason why they were trying to use Goofy on Ramos' case was because Edwin Ramos was dating his sister. They had a kid with him. She got a kid by Edwin Ramos, a little daughter. I have a picture of her. I got family photos of her. Of course, I would not post those pictures because I always, one thing I do respect is family. But the little girl name is Elizabeth. Elizabeth is the daughter of Edwin and Goofy's sister. So they try to use Goofy against Popeyes to trying to see if they can get information. So what they did is, you gotta remember, when they caught Popeyes, they didn't send them to the mainland. They put in a murder max, which is like you don't come out with a lot of people, but the people in ADSET. So you in ADSET 24/7. You only get an hour out of your cell, and you're a murder max. And the murder max, you don't really have communication with that much people on the line. And I will tell you why. Because murder max in San Francisco County Jail, I was there before, and the way it is they have two doors going to the side inside. So they open like a little closet and the little like a little hallway, and they have 3 cells, right? Then they had a shower, and they had the phones inside, and then the door is not a bar door like all the other holes or all the other pods. It's like a mesh door. So you can really see that much outside, and there's no way you can fish nothing underneath the door because the mesh door literally hits the ground. It's just a lot about this tiny bit, and you cannot slide kites throughout the side because the post office, like the office of where the police is at, is right next to it. Here's Murder Max, and here's the post, and here's the mob closet. So even if you try to make it all the way to the mob closet sending a kite, 9 times out of 10 the police are gonna see it because they're posted right there. Because the reason why the poster right there is because the back bar, which is in 850 County Jail, the 7th floor, consists of H, G, J, and I believe it's G, H, and 2 other pods, and then Murder Max. And then you have 2 hallways that go to C side and D side. D side used to be active for all GP and the whole. And C section used to be for all dropouts and non-affiliated that were no longer in the line. They were trying to go to PC. Basically, they will send them over there. Then in the middle, right in the middle, you have all the mainliners. The tank for C. And the 7th floor, the house is different. They don't house Sureños in the mainline. At least they didn't used to back then. Now they do. So that they were trying to get Goofy to go to Murder Max to try to connect with Popeye to try to see whether he can get out. What they didn't count is the Popeyes at the end was going to turn rat. The reason why they named the article that way, and the person he was talking to was some truth to it. Yeah, there's lies in the article. There's a bunch of lies on it. Nobody forced nobody to do that. But the reason why they named a specific article Right Running Wild was because of Mickey. Because of what Mickey was doing. When they let him out, the feds, and the paperwork that I had, the feds said that the deal he took was he cannot get involved on criminal activities. He cannot get involved. They give him like a plea, basically. You cannot do this, you cannot do that while you're working for the feds because you are like an agent alone. It's like they have a demeanor, because I looked it up what it means. So Google, I looked it up in Google what it means. Like you cannot do nothing criminal because then they cannot save you if they catch you. Then you cannot be a good witness or some stuff like that, right? But that didn't apply to the dude. The dude was literally, I'm telling you, the dude was out there knocking shit down while he was being a rat. But he recorded a lot of homeboys. He got a lot of homeboys caught up. But the people that got more of the people caught up was Bad Boy when he came in. But see, here was the case. Bad Boy didn't get used by the feds when the big trial came around. When Psycho, Peloncito, Ivan, all of them dudes went to trial. They didn't use it. They were trying to use Mickey specifically just for Ivan, for Tigre, and Psycho, because they were the same generation. They were trying to use whatever he knew or whatever he had recorded of them to trying to get them to get life sentence, which they did. Tigre got his life overturned and supposed to be home now. But that was the reason why they were trying to use him. But he played the system and he played the homeboys too, because he was out there shooting, doing all the extra. So he couldn't get caught because he was part of the discussions where they were trying to figure out who the rat was. So he was reporting back to his handler saying they're suspicious. They're trying to find for a rat. They're looking for a rat. La la la. He was part of those transitions where they set people up to see. They would tell somebody one thing, another person a thing, to see which truth came out to light. What the FBI didn't count on was that this fool didn't listen. He didn't care. He was out there running. This dude was out there stealing cars, taking them apart, selling them. He went up to shoot up 2 people. I believe he shot 2 people. Then he did another stabbing. Then he robbed and steal cars and all that stuff. They had a little crew of him where he was living in Oakland. His nephew, him, and another person, where they would go and steal cars, take out their rings, and sell them. That was their hustling. Then Goofy almost testified on against me in my case. The reason why they didn't at the end was because they caught him lying about some stuff. Half of the stuff that he was gonna testify against me, he didn't know. I didn't never kicked it with him. There was nothing more he could tell but what he had heard from other homeboys. There was never a solid concrete evidence that he had on me saying this, that, and for that fact, because I didn't fuck with him. I didn't get along with him. I didn't like him. But the article did told some of the truth. The article did address a lot of the truth. But the reason why I always said too that it was kind of disrespectful and it was kind of sideways was for the same reason that basically some of the stuff were not correct. It was not correct. The way they had proceeded was not correct. So when they interview, and I will tell you guys, Bad Boy was in the course, and all the names, Roberto Arturo Acosta, to some gangster, he was known as Fox, and the name suit him. Yeah, of course they suit him. He was a lying son of a bitch. All that he thought was like he was lying. The reason why he had got to know was because he got deported to Honduras. When he landed in Honduras, he called his handlers, said, I'm in Honduras, but I'm in danger here, so I gotta come out. So in 2005, when they started the first indictment that we're trying to take down on the MS, they offered him a chance, a Bad Boy. Hey, you can stay in the country if you infiltrate 20 street cliques and you tell him. But he had done that with other neighborhoods. They had used this individual and with cliques in Boston. They had used this individual in Texas. They had used him a lot. And the reason, and a lot of people told the homeboys, hey, that fool knows too much, man. Be careful. He said to Davis, he said, Bad Boy warned Davis that he knew too much after 5 months in custody with the gang and had no choice but to enjoy it. Davis said he now knows that nothing was going to happen to me. He was going to do it to become a rat and put a case to this. He said, if I didn't jump in, he will kill me or someone in my family. So he threatened this kid. Imagine him being a federal informant, threatening somebody to jump into a neighborhood. If not, he was gonna kill him. But none of this matter to the courts or to the federal government because they're still using in two other Devil Horns cases and got convictions out of based on his testimony, which was a lie. And the crazy part is that in 2000, in October 2008, 26 suspect was arrested, right? 24 indictment for the RICO case. And here goes the crazy part. That they let him go, and then after the case took place, two of the cases that I mentioned that didn't come in into the Double Horns investigation, he didn't testify. They took his immunity for granted and left it without a country. He cannot get deported to Honduras because they're gonna kill him. He cannot get deported to nowhere else, but he's still in the United States under federal protection. And here goes what I said, and that's why I said that Mickey Martinez, a former gang leader who later testified to participate in car theft and shootings during his time as a government snitch, he admitted in his stance that he was doing it. Federal laws didn't mention paying those informants thousands of dollars, relocating the family, or didn't stay in the country without work permits. That's how dirty the government was in this case. They didn't care what they were supposed to do. They wanted just a conviction to shut down the poison of the city because it was affecting business, it was affecting tourism in the city. They didn't care. They literally paid these dudes thousands of dollars, moved their whole family to a different side of the country, new identities, work permits. But yet he admitted in the stand saying, "Oh yeah, I was doing car theft, I was shooting people, I was doing that, I was doing this, all with the okay of the government." We know the government is dirty. But to go to that stand to derail people's life and put them in prison, that's what caught the attention of everybody else. The informants becoming an increasing liability. One defendant claimed he was arrested for committing the crime he was supposedly informing about, is now suing the city and his federal handlers. Imagine that. He's suing the federal and his handlers because he got caught committing the crime he was investigating. A 7 defense started his trial this morning, facing the sentence up to 25. The government cares so much of the violence. The prosecution wasn't aware, and my client was inducing coercion and pressure to commit crime he was not otherwise proposed to commit. That's what I tell you guys. And that's why I'm going to break down the Devil Horns cases and the whole book about that information, because some of the book is lies. Some of the books are lies. Some of the things is lie. This fool had a pass, and this is what the feds did when they find out about Bad Boy's past. They said that they know he's a bad boy. Grant Khan might have been foolish. His own handler early this year. He confessed to crimes he hasn't revealed during his 5 years as an informant. In pre-trial hearing, Assistant U.S. Attorney Wilfred referred to Bad Boy revelation as a bomb dropped on us. Defendant's attorney Sullivan said the confession coincided with the weekend in which the feds investigator was nosing around the industrial Honduras city of San Pedro Sula, asking about Costa Paz. He was about to be revealed as a murderer and liar he was. See, here's the thing. When the case went to trial, the homeboys were like, "Hey, send your investigator to Honduras and digging into his past because we're hearing this, we're hearing that." The feds never brought up, "Oh, he was a murderer. He got people killed. He got a bus full of people light up and killed." But once the feds felt like they were almost digging too much into the nose, they'd say, "Oh, he dropped the bomb on us." And that's why that case was named that way. That's why the article came back to this name. And that's why a lot of people came back recently to get resentenced because of situations like this. I got my freedom on a situation similar to this because people were lying, because the judge was and the attorney were so quick because the re-election were coming up for Kamala Harris and George Gascon when that shit came up. So they served us in a platter. And then Edwin Ramos' case had just been finished when I went to trial. So they were on the run. We caught one MS murder. We're going to put 2 other more in jail for life because of this and that. And that's why I say I'm going to break down the Devil Horns case operation to you guys, that to the best of my ability, with paperwork, pictures, and everything. And I'm gonna show you guys, and I'm gonna post some of the paperwork that came out, some of the agreements that people took. But I wanted to talk to you guys about this article, how true it was. Yes, it was true. There were rats in the clique that were running around doing shit that they weren't supposed to be doing, while also telling on the homies. Mickey was one of them, Bad Boy was another one, and Goofy was another one. So you had three people that were committing crimes while also telling on their own homeboys about the crime they were doing. But yet, guess who got lives? The people that never told. I'm not saying this is the, and don't get me wrong, I'm not doing this video to glorify gangbanging and not telling don't snitch. Nah, don't do that. Don't gangbang. Don't tell on nobody. Do not be silent, because I heard once somebody say, hey, there's gonna be a prison before me and after me. There's always gonna be somebody serving time. Meaning people will choose the life before they do. So don't get involved in gangbanging if it's gonna put you in an awkward position. You love a woman, stay out so you can love a woman. You love your food, stay out so you can eat all the food you want. You love your pastries, hey, do what you can, man. But I want to bring this truth out, this article, how true it was. Yes, it was true. There were a lot of those dudes that were running around turning evidence while also doing the crime themselves. And here you have it. I will break down the Devil Horns operation little by little, how it started, when they started, who they got caught, which people went to prison, which people still doing time, which people still doing good, which people still there. But my next case that I'm gonna break down for you guys is gonna be the Edwin Ramos case, because there's a lot of details that you guys might not know about why that incident took place that same day, what happened early during the day that prompted them to go seek for revenge. Then I'm gonna also do the case with a big spooky Eric Lopez case, so you guys can see who he was, the character he was, because I know him really well. And I'm also gonna do Tristes and Candidos cases and little killer cases in Daly City. So stay tuned. I'm gonna be dropping some bangers, man. With that being said, be kind to one another. Tell your loved ones they love them, because tomorrow is never promised. Let's get it, mi gente.